Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now on the 29th of December 2021. Well, yesterday we went down to Brighton, Lorraine and I, and met a friend there and had a nice little afternoon out where we went to a restaurant and both before that and afterwards a few bars and pubs as well. And I've got to report the amount of muzzleage in those sort of places was rather higher than I would have liked. And when you consider here in England, you don't even have to do it in hospitality settings as at the moment. Yes, you do in shops, but anywhere like that, pubs, restaurants and bars, you don't. And yet probably a good 40-50% of people were doing it, and they were doing what I call Boris's pantomime or Johnson's pantomime, and that's what I called it last year when it first came in, where you had to do this ridiculous thing of wearing one of those as you come into a bar or restaurant or pub, and then as soon as you're sitting down you could take them off, and then you had to put them back on again if you're going out or going to the toilet or something like that. And back then I just shook my head in disbelief, and I still do so now. And the worst incident of it was we went to this pub just before going to the restaurant, and there was this like side entrance here, and we were kind of one side of it, and then just the other side of it was this group of people. And of course, as they were sitting down, they weren't muzzled, and then when they got up to go, they put those on and went out this side entrance, which was no more than about 6 feet from where they were sitting. And obviously me and Lorraine were just shaking our heads in in despair. It was really quite bizarre, especially when you consider that this particular pub had bar stools, not actually at the bar but at these sort of higher set tables, and we weren't sitting on those ourselves, but had I been sitting on one of those bar stools, I would have probably been at a higher level sitting down than a short person would have been kind of standing up. And it further makes a mockery of it. So, but one good thing was this friend of Lorraine's one friend of ours that we met up with, she would normally have been wearing a muzzle, but not necessarily in the pubs where she doesn't have to. But we went to a couple of shops as well because she wanted to buy something, and she didn't wear one in there, whereas had she been on her own, she sort of most likely would have put it on. But she was obviously emboldened by us two not wearing one, and therefore she didn't either. So I think out of all these people you see in shops, and probably also some of them in the pubs and restaurants as well, who are wearing them, they're probably only wearing them out of duress, and certainly wouldn't be wearing them if they don't have to. So you might be wondering, because when I've made videos like this, kind of basically sort of despairing of people who sort of muzzle up, I've had the odd comment of, well, why are you picking on people who choose to put a muzzle on? Why? What's it to you? It's got nothing to do with you. Well, I'd agree with that in the normal course of events. Had we been living in the sensible adult world of 2019, early 2020, and we'd just continued living in that adult world where, if you want to put one of those on, feel free to do so, but no worries if you don't want to do it. If you want to have one of those, feel free to come and get it. It is free as well, and we recommend that you get it, but if you don't want it for whatever reason, again, no worries. And had we been living in that world still, I'd agree with you. I'd say, well, it's got nothing to do with me. It's okay, I'd be questioning why they're doing it, but if people choose to muzzle up, that's down to them. But it's not as simple as that now, because people choosing to do that, they're not only impacting themselves, they're impacting everybody, because I believe what it's doing is giving the government and the powers that shouldn't be the green light to bring in further coercive measures, sort of more lockdowns, sort of big V passports, and whatever else they choose to do. And I firmly believe that when the muzzles came back, near enough a month ago now, wasn't it? When they came back, had the uptake of them been relatively low, only sort of 30-40% put them on, and everybody else just ignored the mandate, I think we wouldn't even be looking at the prospect of any kind of lockdown or any other further restrictions. It would have just killed the whole narrative right there, right then. So the fact that a lot of people did unfortunately put those back on, only kind of reinforced or emboldened the government. So I think the things represent a green light to the government, and it's a very visible thing as well as to how well or otherwise their kind of power and coercion is working, because they've only got to go out themselves probably to their local supermarket, and they probably look around and see, I don't know, 95% compliance, and they then think, oh brilliant, that's the green light for us. We'll bring in a few more measures, I think, next month. And I believe that is what's going on, and therefore your choice to put a mask on or a muzzle on is not only down to you, but it's also affecting the freedom of everybody. And as a very well-known meme that I've seen on many of our sort of London kind of shopping trips, as I call them, I'm sure you know what I mean by that. You cannot comply your way out of tyranny. It's only when you start taking those things off and saying to hell with it that we're ever going to kind of get out of this tyranny. And I've got a subscriber called Kat, who, thanks very much for this by the way, who kind of left a sort of great meme on the Telegram group. More on that in a second. But I've got a Telegram group, and they left this meme on there, and as it's sort of saying, you just cannot, every act of compliance is basically another bar in the prison of your children's future. So that is how important it is. That is why I get so fed up with seeing muzzles, because it's not just down to the individual's choice. It is an act of compliance which is only giving the government and the other powers that shouldn't be permission to increase their coercion and bring in, quite frankly, a future that none of us, any of us who loves freedom, certainly do not want to see. And if you think, as I say, according to that meme, if you think you can comply your way out of tyranny, well, it's just not going to happen. As you're probably starting to realise, if you've kind of followed all the rules and all the orders, and you've got all three of those, and you've kind of put those on every single time you've been asked to. You're probably starting to ask the question now, well, it's been near enough 2 years, I've done everything the government have told me, and we're still nowhere near kind of looking out, looking like we're going to be getting away from this. So I thought I'd leave you with a little video. Well, it's a joint venture between After School and Infinite Waters, and the Infinite Waters guy, who I have recommended before a couple of months ago, and he's made a video and it's illustrated by the After School guys, and it's a message for hope. It's called The Tipping Point, Their Plan Isn't Working, and it refers to the fact that I think more and more people are starting to kind of see through the whole charade, and we just need more and more and more people to do the same, follow suit. So I'll leave a link to it. It's on YouTube, so I'll leave a link to it in the description box and the comment section below, and I'll leave it there. Oops, nearly forgot about the Telegram thing. I've got a Telegram group, so if you want to go and see it, there will be a link, an invite link to the group in the description box below, just under where I'm going to put the link to the video I'm just recommended as well. So go along there, join the group, and you can leave any kind of comments, photos, links without any fear of censorship. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.